I can ask you anything. We can do anything. We can talk about anything.
Hey, I mean, now that the tour announcement's out, I don't know what not to talk about.
All right. Well, let's do this. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Lone Wolv Podcast. I'm your host, Wolfson, and today we got a special guest in the building. And this guy, golly, I never thought I was ever going to get this guy over to the show, and I'm super happy to have him on the show, man. This guy is literally killing the EDM scene, mostly in the bass community, especially in the new genre that we're passing by, the Future Riddim. He just released a track with Shards on his latest EP at the Disciple Records. He's released a couple of records. You guys know him. He is the one and only, the Net 7 Lions, SkyBreak. Let's go.
Thank you. Hey, thank you so much. I wouldn't say I'm the next AU5. I think he's still about 7 years ahead of everyone, but I'll take the compliment. Thank you.
Hey,
how
man,
you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How's your life, man? How's everybody treating you, man?
Very complicated. So I've done a semester at college. I've got finals next week. Really should be working on those, but whatever. Priorities, am I right? And I'm not going to be here in 2 weeks because I'm going on tour. That's very strange.
Let's go on tour. So this is going to be your first tour?
Yeah. So the first show of the tour is my fourth show ever. So, we kind of have speed ran the show front of my career, I guess. But pretty interesting stuff. I don't know how ready I am for this, both mentally and physically, but I think it's gonna be a good time. I'm excited to, blast my art out for some people.
Absolutely.
Even if it means, I thought for 18 years, I'm going to go to college for 4 years. And now it's like, shit.
It's like, do I want to finish college right now? The tour is coming,
I would ideally like to get a degree at some point because as we may know, music, it ain't exactly the most financially secure field. You can definitely make a lot of money in it, but I just do want a bit of a backup option.
But
obviously, if it's a choice between, playing being blessed to play like some of the greatest venues in the United States with, dabbing in Roman silver and, sitting in a dorm, which one would you take?
No, absolutely. I'll take that opportunity in a heartbeat, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's got to be very exciting for you, man. I mean, you said it like it's your first tour ever, and you're going on your fourth show on the beginning of the tour, as you said it, right?
Yeah, so I've only ever played 3 shows before that first date, so it's like that'll be the fourth.
And you had any experience on DJ prior to this?
My manager told me back in like December 2020, get a controller. I had a bit of experience. I played a bunch of crummy little, food truck festivals and stuff where there was like 5 people in the crowd in my hometown. It was like, what the hell's going on here? And I was a terrible DJ. Actually, I like to tell the story of my first DJ show since I was using a controller and not like a CDJ.
Right.
It was plugged into my laptop and I forgot my power supply. So my laptop died towards the end of my set. And it was just like, yeah, that's very fun. It's very, very nice. And then but nobody cared. There was no one there. So then as I did the Disciple releases in 2020, my manager was like, yo, dude, it looks like you might be stumbling into show territory relatively soon. So, you might want to invest in a DJ 400 or some kind of, record box compatible controller. Right. And I was like, all right. So I got it. And I spent a really long time this year just learning the basics of DJing and like how to do it nicely. So then when a show actually rolled through, I wasn't exactly going in blind. I mean, I had to learn CDJ. Oh, that's another story. We'll get into that later. Yeah. I learned CDJs on top of a mountain. So that's pretty biblical. That's pretty biblical. We can get into that. I know you had a few questions planned. So
we got time. We got time. So let's talk about it. Let's go.
All right. So that was fun. So a few weeks ago now, I put out a shoot with Wolf Beats. They're like a YouTube promotional channel. They're the guys who actually did my logo. Shout out to Ryan and Eric. You guys are cool. But they do this series called Wolf Beats Warehouse where they fly out people to the Pacific Northwest and they play sets in like, nature and stuff like that. Like I think they did one in Deep Creek Canyon in Washington. And the one I did was on top of Quartz Mountain in right outside Spokane. It was really nice. But yeah, they hit me up to fly me out, and we got to the place, and it was like the Rangers were just kind of being some assholes because we were playing it at this Firewatch Tower. And what's really cool about the Firewatch Tower is you can actually stay there overnight. So it was me, my manager, and his wife Amanda, and we were all, we were going to sleep there that night. And that was the idea. So Eric's got his whole crew. He's got like cameras. He's got, everything like that. And we go to the ranger station to pick up the key. And they're like, oh, by the way, it's fire season. You can't drive to the Firewatch Tower. We're like, okay, how far is that? And he goes, oh, not bad, like a mile. Well, it was actually 3 miles up I think it's 4,000 foot tall mountain.
What?
We had to hike this gear up this like gravel road. It took us like 4 hours to get up there. It was ridiculous. It was insane. And it would have been a really nice hike, but it was like, it was the middle of August, so it was like 92. Ooh. We were like lugging up there, and it was like, we're EDM producers and like people in that scene, so, we ain't exactly athletes.
Yeah.
Me and my manager, we've done a few hikes, so we were kind of used to it, but for a few of them, it was a bit shocking. But yeah, it was like, here we are, we're lugging up 3 entire wagons worth of gear, CDJs, Jesus. Cameras, drones, and everything up to the top of the mountain. It was a great time. Oh man. But the shoot went really well, and we wanted to record the set before sunset, so they were like, oh, if we drive up there like a few hours early, Sky can learn how to play on CDJs. That would be really fun. But by the time we got up there, the sun was already starting to set, so it was just like, okay, you have no time to learn. 1 through 3, go. So I had to figure it out like on the fly. I had like 5 minutes to figure it out. But that's what's great about the DDJ 400. It's essentially the same layout. Every button does the same thing. It's like whatever. But that was scary.
That was a very fun story to talk about. First experience, just like, hey, just get it. Like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Oh, it was something biblical. You know how my whole actually you can see it back there. My whole thing is like, deers in the forest and whatever. So I turned around on the mountain and there was like a deer staring up at me like while I was like learning. I'm telling you, it was biblical as hell. It's like there was it was sunset. The deer is staring up at me, and then he walks off, and it's like, all right, 3, 2, 1, play. It was like,
it was
sick.
It was meant. Cool. It was meant to be. It was destiny.
It was meant to be. It was destiny.
Just the universe spoke and says like, this kid needs to play.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, definitely. It felt very like, I guess kind of not. I'm not a very like spiritual person, but it felt like pretty spiritual in that moment. Like, whoa, what the fuck? We were kind of laughing about it at the time. I was like, oh, look at that. It's a deer, and we just walked like 3 miles to get here.
I mean. Coincidence? I think not.
I think not.
And I actually want to talk to you a little bit about that whole symbol, the whole brand behind your name of SkyBreak and the whole deers. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
So to me, deer are just kind of like, the spirit of the forest, the spirit of like nature and whatever. So it's like they're seen as kind of like mundane, whatever creatures in the context. But I mean, in a lot of ancient folklore and whatever, they really are held as like higher creatures than we view them as today. I think especially I was inspired by the Lord of the Mountain from Breath of the Wild for the glowy thing. It's like a horse. It's like a quest where you have to find a horse on top of a mountain, and it's all glowy. So I switched the horse to a deer and accidentally ripped off Harry Potter. I swear it was not intentional. 110%. It was not trying to do that.
What do you mean you ripped off from Harry Potter?
Yeah. So when I announced Lumina EP, everyone was like, patroness? And I was like, what the hell does that mean? So I looked it up and it was like in Harry Potter, apparently his like spirit animal thingy. I don't really know much of the lore. I read the books like ages ago. The spirit animal thing is like a glowing deer. So it was like, shit.
Oh, wow.
So whatever. No, it was always kind of meant as something very spiritual. And then in my logo, it's the deer and he's got the circuit antlers. So it kind of shows, technology seeping into nature.
Yeah.
So it's like that's kind of the whole deer thing I'm going for. Also, deer are just really cool animals. Did you know? So I had a whole deer fun fact thing. Deer can only see 2 colors. Humans can see 3 colors. We see on an RGB scale, red, green, blue.
Yeah.
With deer, it's only green and blue, which is coincidentally my hexadecimal codes. So definitely meant to be.
What?
Yeah. That was unintentional, but I'll roll with it.
That's wild. I didn't know that. So they only see 2 colors,
Yeah, if you were to show a deer like a red piece of paper and a green piece of paper, they would both look like green. So weird. Or whichever one the red is closer to. It's hard to explain.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
Wild. Do it, and it goes along with your theme. That's so
goes
cool.
Along with the theme. Yeah, I know. It was a weird switch to be from like, okay, now we're concentrating in on this kind of brand and this image. But I think the deer really represents my music well, and it's not really been done in electronic sense. I don't really think. So
I mean, look at it this other way. Like, you're actually symbolizing your brand with your name on it. It's like only a few people that I know that actually has like an animal as a mascot or as part of their brand. Like it means some sort of significance. Like, for example, Bear Grylls, the whole bear's suit and all that. 7 Lions is all about this, the lions about it, It's like not many artists out there in the EDM scene actually can define themselves with the animal. Shards. I forgot. Shards. Yeah.
Shards as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing it super well, though, since he doesn't really use his face a whole lot. I like how he takes the hammerhead shark idea and then he like themes it around like whatever the theme of the tune is. Like, the opal shark was all crystally, and the water elemental sharks are all like, very spectrally and fun. It's like, I don't know. I think he's doing a really good job of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, and it's very unique. I mean, he actually took. I'm pretty sure it's because his favorite shark is the hammerhead. Because if you would have put like sharks as an artist, the first thing that comes in your head is like, what comes in? Like, oh, a great white shark. That's a shark.
Great white.
Yeah, everybody will go on the Jaws types. It's like everybody's done that, been there, done that. You want to be recognized by something unique and different. You don't want to be recognized as something like oh yeah, he got that from somewhere. It's like no. There's a meaning behind the meaning of the brand or the animal for why it's being used on the logo and the name of it,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think he does a really good job with it. I haven't seen the hammerhead shark been used before, and I think his music goes on the prettier end. So I think some evil great white looking thing wouldn't really necessarily fit with his brand. So definitely found a way around that.
I mean, the best thing he did was going with the hammerhead because Jaws and Megalodon has already gone to that, great white style of sharks, and they have their own brand and their own style, while Sharks actually has his own unique persona with the shark. And in a way, it kind of symbolizes like the music that he's portraying with the shark, because if you realize hammerheads are not that very aggressive sharks. They're actually pretty okay as long as you don't fuck with them or fuck in their territory. Like, they're pretty good. And then when they go hard, then that's where they go hard, So it kind of
exactly.
Like in a way, it symbolizes his theme, So he did a great job, because if not, he would have to go with the Megalodon route or Jaws, which he's gotta go heavy on everything, But I like the direction that he's going. I really do. And it's the same direction as you are going. I like it.
Yeah, for sure. It's super cool.
Because
animals, that's a brand.
I mean, on top of just the brands, like the direction you guys are going in music wise, I don't know if anybody has told you this, but you guys are basically the pioneers of a genre.
Oh, thank you. Wow, that actually means a lot. Yeah, we kind of, I don't want to say we took the ideas from Chime and Asora, but Chime and Asora are very good friends of ours. And we kind of grew together in like a big chat called Rushdown. And it was like, we kind of took some of their techniques and made our own and taught them that. And so now as we all gain more and more production knowledge, we've all evolved into our own thing. Like, I know Eric's doing the whole, trancey, fast-paced hard wave stuff. Yeah. Chime's doing a lot of like video gamey storytelling stuff. Yeah. I make funny nature music, and then Sharks is just cracked at everything. So it's kind of cool how we all spread off on the same idea within a genre.
I believe so, man. And I say like, and yeah, you can add 10 Midnight and Chime into all this. Like, you guys are basically pioneers of a new wave of genre. Like, before you guys even start with this whole Future Riddim, like, can you think of anyone else who has done it? Prior to it, it's just Melodic Topset and Chill Step,
Yeah.
And then you got like those here and there's that, you mix, you have a nice melodic saw dubstep drop, and then you get a heavy one. It's like, okay, but that's still melodic dubstep. That's still dubstep. What you guys are doing is basically taking elements of that whole genre and creating a new wave, and now everybody wants to jump in on that wave. So
you kind of find that halfway point. It's super cool.
How do you guys even like come up with it? Like, where did it all start? Where did it all begin? That you say, like, you know what, I'm going with this way. You know,
for me, it was a bit. It's a bit funny. You'd have to ask Eric about the true origination, because he was the one. He's kind of the mastermind.
Who's Eric again?
Ace Aura.
Ace Aura. Okay.
Yeah, Ace Aura. But for me, I had no idea what I was doing. And in Run Wild, I had this like epiphany. So I was like processing just a saw wave or something. I was just putting a bunch of, nay effects on it or whatever. I was like, it'd be funny if I put like a song in here. So I dragged my track Above the Clouds, which had been out for a while. And that's like a traditional melodic dubstep tune. Yeah. And I dragged that into the same processing chain. And I just went, like, I really remember, I just went, what the, my brain just exploded. I had like a billion ideas. So I did that kind of thing where I was like resampling my own tracks over and over and over again. And like, getting the melodic value out of that. Cause that's really fun. Instead of having like one single timbre to process, you just have like a whole stack of them that already sound like harmonically pleasant together. So that's a really fun, method of action. But then it's like, that gets a little cheap, after a while. It's just kind of like, well, if I'm doing the same thing over and over again, it's like whatever. But through all the techniques I had learned from doing that, I was able, and also the techniques other people in my friend circle had been discovering, I now do like a billion different things to make color bass, So there's really like a big open wide amount of thing. What am I saying? There's like a lot of ways to achieve the sound, some of which we don't even know about yet. But that was definitely my first like, wow, this is fun to make moment.
Pretty sure, man, because I'm pretty sure that the moment you had that experience, you're just like, okay, now I can take this to the next level. Now,
I saw myself on Disciple in 7 months. No, I'm kidding. I had like a revelation.
But that's insane. Like the fact that you basically came on this new idea that that nobody has started with this and nobody is fucking with it. You came up with it, and now everybody's on that wave with you, and everybody wants to be like you. You literally inspire hundreds, if not thousands, of people to make color-based tracks like you. I mean, shit, they make YouTube tutorials about it.
Oh yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just a fun genre to make, It's like a lot of EDM can be a bit monotonous to make. It's like rather than telling stories or painting pictures or, telling a tale through sound, a lot of it is like, how hard can you make something go? And to be fair, that's a lot of fun to mess around with in the realm of, I've made a few bangers here and there. Oh. It's like fun to just push all the limits and just see what happens from there. But I definitely feel like people are starting to realize, wait, there's a lot of room for like, storytelling and all that stuff in the genre. And whether it was me who sparked that or Ace Aura or Leatrix or Chime or anyone who's like absolutely killing it in the movement, I don't know. But I'm definitely starting to notice a shift towards, more balanced experiences within EDM rather than just like smoke weed until you die. Wah, 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 wah. Like, I don't know.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I'm not a rhythm fan. I am.
So
not.
It's all right. I don't mind a rhythm. I think a lot of it is just kind of like stupid fun. So you can't really, review it from like a really artistic standpoint, like whatever. I mean, you're not going to become very satisfied if you're looking for a song to cry to, but it's just music that's good fun, sits well in sets. And I think going to shows really helped me realize, okay, rhythm is just this awful, terrible genre that people make because it's lazy. Like, there really is a rhyme or reason to it. And I've definitely noticed some of my more intricate, complex rhythms don't work quite as well live. But that kind of quarter note emphasis, people do it because it works. Like, sounds good live. Thump and sub gets the whole floor moving. Yeah. But I couldn't imagine making it for every song. I would get kind of bored working within those limits.
I can, bro. Like, I criticize rhythm a lot. I always tell everybody rhythm is the techno version of dubstep because basically it's the same drop over and over, like the same pattern of it. And then when you didn't even realize that you switched songs because it's like, oh, this is a different song? Oh, I thought it was the same. It's just the same. walk, 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 walk. It's like, no. If you give me a rhythm that Virtual Riot does, then okay, I can fuck with it. Because you know what? At least he puts a growl here and there. He makes it sound much more unique and interested. But if you're gonna be doing like not to shape my boys Murda and Infet, not shading you guys. I'm just saying I don't like your genre a lot. But if you do it like sudden death and stuff like that, like it's the same pattern. And I have an issue with it because like you say, it's kind of lazy in a way because it's all you gotta do is just that. And I'm more of a person that I like more unique stuff, interesting stuff that it's hard for me to do because I like making dubstep. But ever since I got very involved with Melodic Topset, I'm just like, holy shit, this is a whole different beast. And I want to get more involved with it. And then the more I get involved with it, the more I listen to more artists who are like, holy shit, bro. How the hell these guys are not literally out there? They should be out there, you know? And
yeah, for sure. Well, I kind of think, I kind of had similar thoughts. Like I was very apathetic about the scene. Like, oh, all this shit just sounds the same. Like, why are people making this stuff? But again, you know, going to a live show and hearing how it's made for utility. I mean, that's utility sick. I mean, I'm not endorsing it. And I'm not saying, you know what, SkyBreak Riddim album next year. Yeah. And I'm not going to change my artistic vision to suit it. But I see the purpose. And I don't really like calling out artists for, you know, making it. I think it, I mean, I wouldn't exactly put on a Murder or Infect record, you know, I'll casually on my Spotify playlist and go like, yeah, you know, this is the meaning of existence. But, you know, if I'm playing a live set or I'm going to a live set and suddenly I just hear, yeah, you know, I'm going to go, you know? It's just it just like,
yeah, like
so it's all about context, and I found you become a lot less bitter about music when you realize it's about context, because there's a lot of elitism in this scene, especially lately with the rise of like Future Riddim and stuff that's like really well mixed. And I might have sparked a bit of it, but it's kind of like we've kind of now got this mindset of, oh, it's good, but it's not as good as, or oh, this is a song, but you better make a song that's better than it soon, you know? Yeah. And it's like, I think a lot of it is just all about the context it's played in, why it's written, what emotions it's trying to come across, even if that emotion is like stupid or dumb, you know?
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't knock it out that much. It's my own personal preference. That's what I believe about rhythm. Everybody, it could be different for the next person. The next person could say like, my God, rhythm saved my life, and shit, kudos, man. Like I'm happy for you, I guess. You know, and
when the pre-drop went, suck my fucking penis, I really thought, oh man, dude, I should really turn my life around.
I mean, wild things happen, you know. Wild things happen. I'm not knocking it down, man. And kudos to all our homies, you know, who's still doing it, who's still killing it, you know. That's just my personal preference. But when it comes to doing a set, I'm with you with that. Like, I like to tell a story from beginning to end. For sure. And I want to start out with something. Want to give you the introduction, and then throughout the entire thing, I want to give you like the breaks, the climax, and then going hard on the last to tell you this is how it ends, you know? And it's very unique. Not many people do that. Most of the times people are just in it for, you know, bangers. It's like, well, drop. But few people, like my brother on Nitty Gritty, shout out to him. He tells a story. When you hear a set of his, you basically hear him going dubstep, and all of a sudden he goes switch it up to some Michael Jackson shit, and then he goes switch it up to some house shit, then he switch it up to some future bass, some trap, and then he finishes hard with dubstep. It's just like, wow, like how he does it, I have no idea. I only teach him how to DJ. Everything else he did on his own. I was like, well, you're a beast. You're just entirely beast, bro. You're the next Skrilla. So what the fuck do you want me to say? You know?
What do you want to do at that point? Yeah, I met him twice now. We had very, very short encounters. I met him once at Izu. Both times I didn't recognize him until the person I was with was like, oh, Nitty Gritty. And I was like, oh shit. Hi. Like the first time it was with Ace Aura at Electric Zoo. That was really nice. He was really sweet about it. It was like, yeah, you know, he's just such a nice, passionate dude.
Yes.
And then I also saw him in this weird shopping mall when I was at EDC Las Vegas. And he was like, "Oh, dude, you should catch my set at like 4." And I was like, I was gonna do it, and then it was like, shit, it's 4 a.m. I just want to cry in the artist lounge.
Hey, it's all good, man. That's good. But yeah, he's a very sweet person, very chill, man. He and I went to school together, and I told him right from the get-go, like as soon as I knew what he was doing, and by the time he was in school, he was already working along with Seven Lions and Skip Marley. This is wild to me. Like I knew it that he was gonna be as big or bigger than Skrillex, and he's already at that track right now. I mean, he's already nominated by 3 different Grammys,
Yeah, I saw that. Big ups to the guy. That's sick as heck.
Yeah, and 3 different artists too. Marshmello, Major Lazer, and J Balvin, The guy is a killing machine, man. And I've seen him in the studio working. I've seen him working with people, and when he was recording the vocals, he's a Terminator, bro. I'm telling you, he's literally a Terminator. It takes him little to no time to come up with something out of nothing. And all of a sudden it's just like,
that's
bam.
Crazy.
I remember when he was doing the EP that he did with Spitting Records, the All In EP. I was there when he was doing the song All In with this guy. I keep forgetting. He's a Miami native here. Shoot, I'm sorry, Jimmy. He was doing with Jimmy, and I was just minding my own business, doing my projects, and all of a sudden I'm hearing his shit. I was like, hold on, let me stop my shit. Let me hear his. And
what the heck?
Yeah, I was just like how he was making all the saws and how he was doing all that shit. I was just like
mind blown. Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Nah, he's just on a different level. I don't know, man.
I was doing a little fun producer challenge with a few of my friends earlier this week. There's this fun little internet game called Gartic Phone, and within that game, there's a mode called Knockoff, where someone draws the drawing, and then a bunch of people have to, and then the next person has to redraw that drawing in a slightly less increment of time, and then it goes further and farther down until literally like it's unrecognizable. Like the time you have to draw it halves and halves and halves. So we tried to do that with production, and specifically my buddy Aaron. Disdain, he is cracked. He just won the Disciple contest. Actually, he won.
For the remix.
Yeah, he's cracked as heck. But it was like everyone else's ideas for like when we got to the 10-minute region, it was like, all right, like what is this? But it would be like accurate or better than what he was given, and it was just like, what the hell?
Oh,
he's insane. He's insane, dude. You guys, anyone who's listening, just check out Disdain. His whole discography just cracked.
Oh, check it out, everyone. Check it out. I'm gonna check him out as well. Holy shit! So he won the remix competition.
Yeah, he did a collab with our friend Kaval, who's another producer that I personally think is really cracked. We've got a tune together that's coming out sometime in 2022. But yeah, it's nice to be surrounded with people that are like we're always just passing ideas back and forth, and like we're able to just fuck around in a call and make a bunch of music that's like getting progressively worse, and it's like a judgment-free zone. But we're also all like we know-ish kind of what we're doing, so it's nice.
That's good, man. Hey, I know a lot of people who has done the same route as you guys are doing right now. Think of a company, Wooly, or who's now Careless Castle. They're homies. They all went to Icon. They were all roommates at one certain point of their lives, and they were just passing by. Oh, Sunday service. I forgot about those guys. Those guys were sick at that time, and they were all homies to each other. And they basically, that's how they started off their career, just like passing music left and right, like it was nothing. And then look where they are right now.
Yeah, they're like all headlining. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Company, like one of the leads in Never Say Die, Wooly with Ophelia, and making tunes with fucking Excision. Like
crazy.
Like what the fuck? Excision of all people. Like shit, And then Careless Castle, he's just making tunes where everybody else, and now he's on the round table, which is like pretty dope, man. Like, and I feel like the way you are describing yourself and your homies, I feel like you guys are heading that direction. I feel like you guys are gonna be doing great things, and you're gonna be bigger and bigger before you know it, guys. I mean, you're already there. I mean, shit.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Like shit, like as far as I'm concerned, you've released tracks on Disciple and there was the other one, Rushdown, right?
Yeah, Rushdown, Heaven Sent, did something with Never Say Die. I've released around a bit. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not kind of stuck to any label at the moment. I will say Disciple has been my favorite label to work with so far. No offense to the others. But it's just like, they were very on time with art. They were really pushing my release, and it was like they're just a group of really hardworking people, and they're also just willing to have a quick laugh and not take themselves too seriously, because at the end of the day we're releasing bleep bloop music.
Yeah.
So yeah, Disciple's great. They're a really nice label to work with.
Yeah,
like everyone should aspire to do that in electronic.
I always give my shout outs to my people from Disciple, and I love everybody who I've met over the years. Like my closest homies is Josh and Pat from Mode Step.
Oh, word.
Yeah, they stay over in my apartment during Ultra Music Festival when they performed live, and they stayed over and they did their rehearsal, and then Rossi came along. And
oh shit, that's sick.
Yeah, no, like I've been a Disciple fans, a long time, and then having them in my apartment and just kicking it with them and just sharing stories and whatnot. It's like I stay in touch more with Pat. Pat and I were we hit it off very quickly. Like me and Josh, we talked here and there, but it's like very vaguely. And Rossi's like, I haven't talked to Rossi in a long time, but I'm pretty sure if I tell him, it's like, yo, I'm the Jab Boy, he's gonna remember who I was. It's an inner joke that we did. It's funny.
Oh boy,
funny story. So I'll tell you right now. So basically, I'm from Puerto Rico. I was born and raised in the island for 25 years, and
very cool.
English is not my first language, just to let you know.
Damn. Well, you're good at speaking it, honestly.
Oh, thank you. I
like that.
I learned how to do it, and I made sure that English became my first language to speak and learn and talk and write. So there's a problem to that because I have an accent, like a weird, Spanish accent that you could tell is like, you got a sort of English accent of some sorts, and we were in the balcony and they were just telling me about this artist lounge that it's on a yacht, and they were telling me, that they didn't want to go there because of people full of shit or something like that. I don't know. And I was talking to them about it. I was like, like you guys could have just like, grabbed some of the food from the yacht. And they were like, what jet? It's like from the yacht. And they were like, or Wilson, where are we taking off? Like, what are you talking about?
The jet?
Yeah, they understood jet. And I was saying yacht. And basically, we were just literally going back and forth. We're saying, like, I'm saying yacht. And they were like, yacht? Like, yacht. Like, yeah. It's like, dude, the boat is selling. It's not a boat, it's a yacht. And they were like, oh, you mean a yacht? That's what you were trying to say, a yacht. I thought you were saying a jet, like a fighter jet. Like we're having an artist legend of fighter jet.
That would be metal, though. You kidding? Flying over the fucking festival. You kidding? Bro. Y'all cramp in the cockpit and just go like, oh, dude, that'd be way better than a yacht.
Bro, that's an Ultra fan. Now I'll take that. Ultra is capable of doing something like that. But that was the whole argument because they're thinking that I was talking about a jet, and I was like, no, I was talking about a boat, a yacht, and they were like, no, you're saying it wrong. And I'm like, how the fuck am I saying it wrong? I say yacht. I say yacht. And Rossi was just like, please stop. I can't. My stomach can't.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's
poor thing.
Oh my god, it was so funny. And then later down the years, I stay in touch with them, and then just recently, stay in touch with Nick and Jay from Virus Syndicate, and they're really, really amazing people. Oh,
I've never gotten the chat with them before. I played Minecraft with Josh for a while. That's our like only interaction. And then we chatted for about 30 seconds at EDC.
And that's pretty much it.
He's a super wholesome dude. But yeah, I've never chatted with Virus Syndicate before.
Which people have you ever chat with in the Disciple crew?
From Disciple? Oh god. I mean, I don't really want to list them off because none of us are necessarily best friends or whatever. But at least have chatted with a few of them. Yeah. Barely Alive. I played a quick kind of show with them in New Haven. It was pretty low key. But it was nice, and I got to hang out with Willie backstage for a while. We just kind of shot the shit, and I was with him as he was like going through the remix contest winners, and I vouched for my friend who unfortunately did not win. But the winner who did win is really cool. It's a really nice house remix. So yeah, that was nice. Virtual Riot, he's been a major inspiration for me for like ages, and he plays out 2 of my tunes, Waterfall and my unreleased game clip. It's super cool. It's like a staple in his sets now. So that's really big for me. And who else? I had this call with A&Rs after I won that first contest. That was sweet. And and then Mode Step, we played a bit of Minecraft. I don't know. I don't talk to any of them on like a day-to-day basis at the moment, so I'm not gonna go and pretend we're best friends. But they're all just really, really sweet and nice people. Honestly, I'm excited to get to know them better eventually. I'm probably missing someone. Dirty Phonics. Yeah, Dirty Phonics. They're also fucking great. They're really nice people.
I mean, and let me tell you from experiences, give it some time, but you're already there. And the cool thing about these guys, it don't matter as long as you fuck with them, man. They fuck with you back, and they'll help you and support you no matter what. That's what I love about Disciple so much about it. Out of all the labels, they're the only one that I felt like these guys are in it for the community. They're in it for themselves. They're in it to support each other. Like, tell me what other label that say, Fudd Stevenson is releasing a song. Every other artist of that label is posting something. It's like, yo, my brother Fudd Stevenson is posting it. Tell me what other label does that. Like, they actually commute as a family, And
they're definitely a very family-based label, which is nice. I love to see that, honestly.
And that's the beauty about those guys. That's what it attracts them a lot about, for people, because they see that, they're in it for the people, they're in it for themselves as a family and all that stuff. And I just like how they're progressing from the beginning when they started all the way to where it is right now. I mean, like, look at all the cool stuff they've done so far. They basically built an entire label full of dope producers. Each of them has their own unique sound. Each of them support each other. They're all homies. And look how many stuff they've done. Like, they've released the regular shit, which is now the Alliance Volume 7, which is dope. Mm-hmm. They got the round table stuff, and now they got Afterlife. Like,
Afterlife. Let's go.
Like, let's go, man. Like, the only label that I see doing stuff like that is probably Monster Cat. I don't know any other label that can actually fuck around with that many artists and, support each other artists and have that many genres, even from that same base genre, And I tell you, Monster Cat is like one of the top goals in my life. Monster Cat is like, if I release a Monster Cat, I retire from music and that's it. Like, I'm done.
Oh, why would you do that? That would just be a new beginning.
Nah, bro. I want to leave my stamp, letting every hater know. So like, see, I made it. Bounce, dogs, bounce.
That would suck, honestly. Though, can you imagine you quit the day you get on Monster Cat? That would be like the equivalent of like, I don't even know. Getting your first show and then quitting. It's like,
well, I know. I said retire from music, and I didn't even say I'm retiring for the whole thing. I'll still DJ if I have to. I'll go to all the Monster Cat shows, but I'll say retire as music wise, because you tell you what, if you do something sick that Monster Cat sink their teeth, and you say like, I'm done, dude, they'll want more. And you'll be like, okay, I guess I get coming out of retirement. Okay, let's just make some more, and not only that, it grabs the attention of other labels as well. It's like, hey, come over here, man. Why don't you just release some music and stuff like that,
Well, yeah, that's kind of more what I was getting into. I don't know. I know one of the things you wanted to get into was like, mental well-being and whatever. And I kind of had one of those moments when I released the Lumina EP on Disciple. It was like, Disciple had always been my goal, Virtual Riot, Barely Alive, and all that stuff. So it's like, when you get there, it's like, okay, now I'm on the other side. It's not like a video game or like a book where it's like you save the princess or, you defeat God in some weird games, you sail off into the sunset and it's happily ever after, like there's another side,
right?
The congratulations, you got accepted email sends, and then the phone rings, or it's like, and life kind of goes on. And for someone like me that was originally very, goal oriented, obviously, in it for the passion. I still am.
Yeah.
I've always been in it for the passion, but I was very, goal driven. Like, I'm going to work really, really fucking hard, and I'm going to make my own name for myself. And then Disciple's going to pick me up, and that's going to be that. And then like after that, that's going to be that point. Shit gets a bit blurry and confusing because you're like, well, wait, what do I do next? So it's what I'm kind of trying to figure out how to do now. And actually my next EP, which I'm working on now, is about this topic. It's about kind of finding intrinsic motivation to write, internal validation, rather than being motivated by a specific goal or a specific, I need this DJ to like my music, or I need to get on this label. Like, I've already done that, and it was not, obviously it's incredibly satisfying. I mean, it's like, holy shit, I'm on Disciple. The heck, all my artists like my stuff. But on an internal level, it's not as satisfying as you'd think, because, I still wake up, I still got to go eat breakfast, I got to do my taxes soon. It's like, life went on, and it's like, you can only bask in infinite gratitude for so long before you want more. And so figuring out how to just be like, I make music that makes people happy or emotional, or, having a good time, just kind of being able to feel content with that is something I'm kind of trying to work towards at the moment. So it's like, yeah, it would be very nice for me to release on Monster Cat someday. And that's definitely a goal that me and my management are pushing towards. But for now, I'm just writing music that moves me, moves other people. And I'm trying to fight for that to be enough, because I know at some point, if I continue to be goal motivated, there'll be nowhere to look. And I'll be like, well, what am I writing for at this point? So just kind of trying to figure out that mindset earlier on is like,
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And you know what? I'm happy that you're talking about it, because this type of conversation doesn't happen that often. And not a lot of people talk about it, or you get to hear it unless you're actually with the person, with the artist, is when you get to hear the experience. But this type of stuff is not out there in public. And I love the way you're actually, talking about it, because it's very important to let everybody know who wants to be, self-made, or wants to be the next up and coming artist, or working towards it and saying like, I want to get to that goal. It's like, yeah, get to that goal. But, stuff happens, you do have a daily life every day, that you got to tend to, and I'm glad that you're talking about that, man. And I'd like to elaborate more about that stuff, because, knowing that I've started to hear your music last year when you released your EP with Disciple. After I heard you, I started following you, and I started listening to your other projects. It wasn't until recently when you made that song with Sharks, which is just like, holy shit, like, now I need to get to this kid.
Yeah, that's the moment.
Yeah, but it's more than just that. It's the fact that, okay, this kid is actually doing some of the stuff as an up and coming artist. He's actually starting up from becoming an up and coming artist to an artist.
Exactly.
Like if we put it in video game terms, let's say that there's 3 acts. You're basically finishing the first act, and now you're about to start the second act, which is a longer experience. And you're you're getting jump started into that, because now you just got the tour announced,
Yeah, exactly. That's really nice. I'm excited about the tour, especially because it's like, it's going to be me being able to see firsthand like how my music would affect people on a larger scale. And that to me is way more important than any silly number flex or whatever, But yeah, interesting, like the 3 acts thing, because I kind of feel like it's almost the end of the 3rd act with whatever goal you set, especially in our society that kind of fetishizes working hard, especially working hard on stuff that's like really cool, where it's like, you hit that goal.
I mean, you said it yourself, like in the goal, once you hit the goal, now there's a new goal. Now there's like
figuring out what's next.
Yeah, figuring out what's next. Maybe this is like, maybe all this time you felt like, oh, this is the entire game, but and then afterwards you're like, oh, holy shit, I've only done the intro. This is act 1 of the game. Holy shit, I can't wait for the next acts, So that's how I see it, because you said, how old are you? You're 19, right?
Yeah, 19.
You're already getting faster. You got a whole life ahead of you, bro. Like, you literally got a whole life ahead of you. Not only you're doing tracks and you're releasing tracks on these dope labels, and you're now about to do touring, which is as for an experience of being a touring DJ, it's amazing. It's amazing experience.
Oh, yes.
So it savored that moment, you know. But afterwards, you also got school, and you say you want to finish school.
Yeah, eventually in some capacity.
Okay.
But I want to walk out with a degree.
A degree. That's fine, you know, and I commend that, bro, because I got myself a degree. My parents told me, it's like, if you want to do the whole thing, like, you got to finish school first. It's like, all right, bet. That's what I do. I finished my degree, 6 years in engineering in PR, and then I moved down to Miami to go to audio school, and then jumpstart my career from there, you know, into where I am right now. And then after this, I thought this is like, all right, this is where I'm ending things down. It's like, no, bro, there's another thing on top of this. Like, I thought me being as a producer and a touring DJ was going to be my thing, but no. I fell in love wholeheartedly with podcasts, and now I want to be doing bigger stuff with the podcast game, you know?
Yeah, that's cool to hear, you know. Interest and stuff evolve over time.
Yes,
you kind of never know what life's gonna throw at you next.
Yeah, and I've been a live sound engineer for almost my half of my life. I've been doing that type of stuff. You know, been doing trusses and festivals and shit and whatnot. Like for my previous episodes, I tell a little bit more about my story. But what I'm trying to get to is like, you know, that was my whole youthful time. You know, right now I'm just like, all right, let me just like do stuff that I want, that I love to do, you know, that I don't need to, you know, be stressed about, you know. Podcasting, this is what I love to do. DJing, I love DJing, man, but, you know, I'm not really stressing about it. Not like I used to. I did my thing. I played a bunch of festivals, or few festivals, play a bunch of shows, open up for big artists, collaborating with some of them. And you know what? I did it. I'm happy with it. I'm content with that. Now I'm just tackling this, you know, and then after this, there's gonna be another big thing, you know. So I'm looking at that perspective that I'm still in Act 2 of my game.
Yeah, got you.
You know, like I'm still at Act 2, and there's like a bunch of stuff. It's like, let me put it this perfectly. I'm playing Final Fantasy 7, and you know, if you remember that game has like 3 discs, the original version. And I'm still at this 2. And there's so many side missions that I'm doing, you know, before I continue and progress the main story. Before I head to the main story, let me just kill all these side missions, and then I'll progress a lot with the mission. That's where I am, and that's how I'm seeing this side. So the way I'm seeing it, you're still at disc 1, but you're finishing off disc 1. You're literally almost there, and now you're about to start your whole new adventure, man.
Yeah, crazy stuff. I don't know. I see life more as like Act 3 never comes. You know what I mean? Like there's always going to be something else that's coming your way. And I don't know. For me, it's like sitting down and like being content is like a really far away option, you know, especially with like grind sets and whatever, you know, like, I don't know. It's like I just kind of want to create consistently and like, you know, tell as many stories as I can before, you know, the real Act 3, which is, you know, death. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not really working towards any specific goal at this point, just the furthering of the SkyBreak project. I don't need to hop on this tour or do this thing. My goal in life more so is just to be like, go with the flow, make music that connects with people, and anything that comes along is just that's good. That's nice. But I'm here. I'm creating. I'm expressing my emotions.
That's good.
Writing music that moves people, and that's like enough, you know. And I think that when I can figure out how to teach myself that, when I can hypnotize myself that I'm not working towards a goal or whatever, I think then I'll be able to really just, you know, be at that like theoretical contentment stage.
Right. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit more about your early stages of your career, before SkyBreak became SkyBreak. You know, I want to talk to you a little bit about that. Now, one of the things I'm very eager to understand, like, you always had a musical background?
Yeah. So I've been playing drums since I was about 5 or 6. And I used to write, I put this in several quotation marks, songs with my dad in the basement. He'd like just jam a few chords on the guitar, and I would just say whatever my 6-year-old ADHD brain would muster over the top of it on the spot. Some of my favorite lines are like, there's a song called Red, where the lyrics just red, 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 red. And then I really remember, I'm looking around for red things in the room, like, there's a red ball, there's blood. Or like, I go like, oh, look, dad's playing a red guitar. And it's like, I just say stupid lyrics like that. But over time, I picked up the drums when I was about 5 or 6. Went to a drum school for that, or like a music school for that. I had the coolest mentor and teacher ever, EJ. Shout out EJ. They kind of at the program, they took whoever they thought were like the most promising students in, because we were all like 8 or 9 at the time.
Right.
And we had this program called Unplugged and Rewritten, which was all about learning how to write songs from scratch. We started out, everyone was just doing, 4 chords of doom on a piano and singing lyrics about pretty much just rehashing whatever we had stirring around our subconscious in the radio. We were 8 and 9. We didn't have any experiences. Girls had cooties and guys sucked, like whatever. So it's like all the lyrics are like, I love you, baby, like garbage. But we all kind of matured into our own sounds and it became more focusing on lyrical value. And we do little exercises like taking a bunch of cheesy phrases and trying to turn them into a song. And then it was like, eventually when we all reached around 12 or 13, we all had our unique sounds. And I started making electronic music because I'd heard stuff from Monster Cat when I was about 10-ish.
Ooh.
And so that's what I started to do. Everyone else was, sticking to piano and guitar, but I was like the weirdo with the aux cable. So I'd plug that into the speaker system. And we just kind of all grew as a unit. I'm good friends with a few people there. I've written songs with a few of them as well, actually. Namely, my friend Gab sang on my song, or not sang, sorry, played guitar on my song Emerald Eyes from a while ago. And we've tried and to make collabs very unsuccessfully a few times. And then my friend Sam, she sang on Reflection, which is a really old tune of mine from Above the Clouds, which is my second album. So it was like, it was just really nice to have a room of people that just being able to give instant feedback or whatever. So that coupled with, jazz band and marching band and shit work. Why do I have toenail clippers? What am I doing? I've just got toenail clippers here. I just saw it in the corner and it started becoming my like fidget toy. I'm going to put these away.
Sure.
I don't know why I have toenail clippers.
Hey man, don't be mad. Look, I got mine right here. Let's go.
I really need a fidget spinner. Those things were so useful. But so that was kind of my upbringing, I guess. Also, we kind of skipped through the, how when we're born, a lot of parents put on Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round. That was very short-lived in my family. By the time I was like 4, we were listening to Led Zeppelin.
Holy shit.
So yeah. Led Zeppelin and Iron Maiden were my dad's favorites.
Holy moly.
That kind of shows my family dynamic.
Hey, I'm not knocking you on that, bro, because I feel like my future children is going to be like, hey, so here's a some boy track,
Yeah.
Here's some Ed Session. It's called Lockdown. So, get into it. Here's some Blink 182. Here's some Linkin Park. Here's some Limp Bizkit. Here's some Eminem. Here, your mom likes Eminem, so I like Eminem too. So there we go. I don't know if it's a good fit or a bad fit. I don't know.
Hopefully in 40 years. Parents will be showing their kids SkyBreak. Waterfall. This was popping off as when I was young.
Yeah. Hey, it's gonna be a thing. That's for sure. When we're in the car, you're listening to some chill melodic vibes, and all of a sudden SkyBreak is like, oh shit. Hey, your daddy knows this guy. This guy's the shit. All right, here we're gonna listen to it.
Hope so. Who knows what happens?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure, man. Now, so it's safe to say that rock has been a major influence in your life.
Yeah, definitely. Specifically, like stuff like Led Zeppelin and Iron Maiden. I think that's why I do a lot of milky pentatonic leads and stuff, because that's it's a big part of that old music and stuff. I still listen to a lot of rock music. I've moved to like Bring Me the Horizon and Periphery are my 2 favorite metal bands at the moment.
Wow.
Periphery, it's really good. Yeah, I'd say rock has been a big influence. I think video game music as well.
Yes.
Especially, you know, I'm one of those wacky youth that grew up in front of the glow of a CRT TV playing the Wii. So it's what I was doing. I don't know if that's CRT actually technically, but who knows? But yeah, video game music, rock, jazz, lots of influences.
Have you ever thought about, adding some of that rock elements into your music?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do subconsciously. I had a debate with my friend Julie a while ago about this, where it's like we kind of, as musicians and artists, we kind of just subconsciously write what our developmental period, when we're like growing up. So when we're like between 8 and 11, that's when our tastes kind of exist, not even within genre, just like melodic clauses and whatever. So it's like, for example, she played a lot of like PS2 games and listened to a lot of like weird jungle shit. She's a bit older than me when she was younger. So her stuff has a bunch of drum breaks and like that really weird 90s aesthetic. Whereas I grew up on like
I remember
Wii
that
games
90s
and metal.
breakbeat. Yeah, that little drum and bass, weird 5 on the video games. I remember on the Metal Gear, on Son of the Enders, and Tekken.
Yeah, Ridge Racer, stuff like that.
Yeah, Need for Speed. It had some of that.
Whereas I grew up on like the Wii games with like the weird jazz fusion stuff and a lot of Sonic with those milky pentatonic leads. And then, of course, the rock music my dad had been showing me in the car. So my stuff is very improvisational, pentatonic, milky, I guess you could call it. It's like that. I could just get that cheesy shit. Beautiful. So that's why my stuff would sound like the way it does. We don't really have like a way to test it per se, but I have found that's a pretty decent trend with a lot of producers. That's why everyone, even if they try to write the same songs, it'll sound like them.
And which genre really tends to incline you the most out of it, like both listening and production wise?
Well, electronic would be the obvious one. But if you're talking out of EDM, probably, just have video game music stuff. It's just got a certain sound to it, especially the older stuff, like like SNES and NES era, and then like Wii games.
Wow. So, and that exactly prompted you to become a producer by listening to these type of music? Is like, I want to make this type of stuff as well?
Well, no, I mean, I think it kind of comes down a bit of a road. It was like, listening to that Monster Cat stuff, ironically, because I was watching a bunch of Minecraft YouTubers when I was young, and they used to use a lot of Noise Storm and stuff from like older Monster Cat uploads. And they'd use that as the background music. So that's how I discovered Monster Cat. And then, that was also very video game influenced, especially stuff by like, Tristram. The old A&Rs was very trancey, to be fair, but it's like, Tristram, Pegboard Nerds, all that crowd. It was very like video game influenced. It kind of just felt like a Sonic game, but produced a little more. Right. So it was like, crap, this is sick. So that was kind of my gateway drug into it. And that was still during my developmental era, because technically I was like 10 or 11 while it was happening. So that alone kind of shaped my music taste. I don't know. I think it evolves over time. Like I've played some Sonic stuff and they're like, this is cheesy garbage. Whereas it's like, me personally, I don't know what's an example. It's like something I wouldn't like. Oh, country music. I don't. If anyone decided to make a country dubstep hybrid project, I would probably shit all over it. No offense. If you do, kudos to you. And if you can pull it off, well, shoot me a DM. Let's collab. But chances are.
I mean, you have to be at an Avicii level for you to do that, because Avicii is probably the only EDM artist who did who crossed country with EDM, and he did it perfectly. Like it made sense out of it.
Yeah, for sure. I will say Taylor Swift makes decent country. I will give that's one artist I can respect who makes country.
I mean, do you really consider Taylor Swift country? I consider her mainstream pop, to be honest.
Like, some of her older stuff is quite country influenced.
Yeah.
Her newer stuff at this point, she's re-recording it all.
Yeah. With that little pop element, mainstream shit.
I'd say it's just a bit folky, like kind of folk. Like, I don't know. I really enjoyed the 2 albums she put out last year, Evermore and Folklore. I thought they were really inspirational for me because they're just like it no longer felt like really overproduced pop, which was the stuff that kind of swayed me away from her stuff for a while. It was just like her a guitar, some shakers, and like a world of stories. And it was like, shit, this bare bones stuff just really shows how good of a songwriter she is. You know, it's no longer patched up by thousands of layers. It's just a good song at core. So that's my thoughts.
I don't listen that much of Taylor Swift. This is what people tell me is like, if she gets into a relationship with someone, she's making an album, because once they separate, is like the whole album's about that person.
Hey, I mean, that's fair though. I mean, if it just kind of shows that rather than talking about some ambiguous "I love you, baby, I love you, baby," rather than like writing from, you know, Satan's pool of writers, it's coming from the heart. You know, like it's like if you, because realistically, yeah, I mean, people say relationships not deep. I mean, hey, I've never been in a relationship my entire life, so it's like I was like that, kind of bitter for a while too. But it's like realistically, you know, relationships are a pure form of emotion. So it's like if shit's hitting the fan, seems an obvious thing to pull from.
But that's very interesting. The way you actually were describing me, how people go through emotions when they're writing music. I personally probably I've done in my career, in my whole life, probably I've done 2 songs that involves my emotions. One of them happens to be a very, very heavy dubstep track that I just released last month. It's called Wrath.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out.
I'll send you over the link. It's my first song that I've released with rock elements, and I've been trying to release this. Well, this track I just made it this year, but the rock elements it's been bouncing from project to project because there hasn't been one project in which it fitted. And then when I started making the drops of this track in particular, it's like, hold on, let me just add my rock elements at it, and it just makes sense. And the reason why I did it is because I've always felt like people are telling me like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. This is how it does. This is how you do it. And I'm like, fuck, bro. Like, how about let me do what I want to do? And
for sure.
And this track itself just represents me as of like, I'm doing this shit and I'm gonna go hard as fuck out of it, because this literally represents everything that I love about dubstep, that I love about rock, that I love about certain, and it represents me as of like, I'm doing this on my own. Fuck everybody. Like, let me just go insane with it. And then the other track was I'm thinking of doing a 2-track EP that's kind of called Hope, and the second track Despair.
Oh, interesting.
It has like,
so like a dichotomy kind of thing.
Yeah, like, you know, you can either, there's 2 routes to life. You can, you know, be hopeful about it, or you can be less hopeful about it, you know? And I'm just showing you like my 2 sides of the coin that I've been through. I've been on from some despairs, and then I reached out to my hope, and then now I'm like in the better place, you know? So that's like my next project, you know? I just started making this, you know, the melody for this, for hope, and I just started making the drop for despair. So it's like, I'm very weird when it comes to making music. It's like, I feel this is how I started, and that, you know, it just goes along with it. But what's your creative process with making songs? Like, what do you go through it?
My creative process for making songs, so it really varies per song. But I find kind of getting yourself into a state of like not overthinking and bliss is like a good way to start. So I guess my creative process. So I do a lot in audio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use like serum patches. Like I don't load up a serum and design my bass. I have like an entire library of sounds I've just made over and over time. So it's all just audio. So it's like my own personal sample pack, but it's like 14 gig and it's all stuff I've made. So I just drag that into the project. These little bleeps and bloops. And then I'll arrange those, and then I'll use MIDI to write melodies and stuff over the top. As for like when like the creative process itself, as in like writing the song, again, just kind of coming from a place of not really overthinking it. Writing, you know, the chord progression is usually a good place to start, and then, you know, a melody, and then you kind of figure that out. But yeah, I don't know. It just kind of varies per track. I don't really have a definitive thing I do.
So
lyrics are usually close to that last thing I do.
So I'll take it that you're heavy on the sound design. Now,
yeah, I love sound design.
So as a producer, on your own personal opinion, do you believe that sound designing is a luxury or a necessity?
I think presets are good for coming up with ideas, if that makes sense. And I mean, hell, I've dragged an A&R sample in or like something because it just fits a phrase and it's lazy. But I think as long as, but I do think it's insightful for producers to learn to make their own sounds, just because I think it gives their songs a lot more identity. Like, sure, if you drag in a VR preset, you can make a song that's decent, maybe even like pretty good. But the reality of the matter is it's just going to sound like VR Riddim number 496,298, you know, like awesome.
Right.
Whereas if you design your own sounds from scratch, first of all, you learn a bunch of new techniques that you can use in the mixing stage of things. So it's like, oh, remember when I did that, you know, that 1000. So one of my favorite tricks, I call it the frequency shifter sandwich. Woo! I frequency shift something up 1,000 hertz, do a bunch of effects, especially stuff that fucks with the spectrum. And then I frequency shift it back down 1,000 hertz. So the pitch and the phase of the sound is like exactly the same. But now we've done effects on it that get all warped and gross. So it's a fun trick. But had I not known how to sound design, I actually used that to repair a mixdown. Weirdly enough, it actually like fixed an element. Like I was doing OTT on it, like just straight up, and I was like, man, you know, this doesn't really sound good. So I did the frequency shifter sandwich, and I put the OTT on it. And I was like, oh my god, this sounds good. What the fuck? Sounds good because it makes the effects a bit subtler. But it's like not the phasiness of like you know, turning down the mix level. It's like it's a cool technique, but it's like, yeah, you just feel like you're better at production overall, I think, when you're doing the sound design stuff. And again, it's just an easy way to give your songs more identity, I guess.
I agree. And this is something that I can't stress enough. Like I tell all my listeners and my viewers, is like, dude, you know the best way to sound design and make your stuff unique? Resample your shit. Like resample
Precisely.
anything, like whatever. You know what? If you like a preset that much, you want to do that Virtual Riot number volume 5000. All right, go ahead and do it. But dude, make it fucking unique. Like make it sound like it didn't came from fucking Virtual Riot's pack, you know? Make it sound like, holy crap, where the hell did this came from, you know? And that's the trick.
Exactly.
And that's the trick, because it's not that hard either. You're just basically playing around with the sound until you fuck it up to the point that it sounds amazing enough for you to like, oh my god, let me just layer this shit. Let me just chop it out. Let me just build it all shit, man. My technique is like probably like the most easiest technique to resample shit. Is like I do basic shapes serum, and whatever comes out of serum, I just resample it into 2 free layers. And once I sample 2 free layers, one of them is just like the effects, and the other one is where I slap Portal in it. And I love fucking Portal. And Portal, I don't know,
mess with it.
Bro, it's the best granulator synthesizer that I've ever touched in my life. Hands down.
Ooh.
Portal is like, you drop Portal to anything and you fuck with the presets, and it's already like fucking up the sound itself, that it sounds like, what? Like, what? I mean, my 2 songs, like the song that just released last month and the one that I'm working on right now, came from Portal sound. Like, I basically did a resample as fuck, and then I just slapped Portal, and boom, it sounds fucking original. It sounds, in fact, the best thing that I learned about from Josh is that he told me is like, if you're gonna make your drops so cohesive, make sure that it counts for that one sound, and do whatever the fuck you gotta do. But do a bunch of layers, do a bunch of resamples, and then build a drop out of it. Now you got like 20 different sounds, but it all came from that one sound. And when you actually write it down, it sounds very cohesive because it all came from that one sound, that one note that you just did, you know? And it's
exactly.
And I feel like that's all you gotta do, bro. And the beauty about resampling is that you'll never sound the same. You'll never sound like any other person, because the way I resample is different from the way you resample. And the way you resample is different from Al5's way of resampling shit. Like, it's very different. We're never gonna cross a time which like my way to resample is gonna sound like yours. Like it's impossible, because you do a lot of things and I do a lot of things, you know?
That's why I tell people, it's like, dude, resample. Fuck the presets. Fuck about, Serum. Like, you know what? Grab a fucking sample pack. Grab a sample pack. Any fucking sample pack. Like, free or Splice. Buy it from Splice. Don't matter. Grab one sound and then mess around with it. Like, if you're in Ableton, just go with Corpus, frequency shifters, LFOs, and any other shit. Just reverb it, OTT, squish it, splash it, scratch it. Like, dude, it eventually is gonna come out to a point in which, like, you'll be like, what the fuck just happened? Like, this is next level. Like, nobody has this. So, of course, nobody has it. Only you have it because you did it,
Yeah, exactly. And I think that kind of does go back very nicely to the virtual riot presets thing. It's just kind of like, would you rather sound like someone else or here, to put it simply, it's like when Virtual Riot does that, when he uses his own patches and his presets, it's fucking impressive. Because it's like, whoa, that's Virtual Riot. He made all that. Whereas it's like the second someone tries to rip him off, it's like, sounds like Virtual Riot. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, for example, if I were to go get a Virtual Riot sample and then be like, cool, this is in my tune now. It's like, okay, sounds like Virtual Riot. But if Virtual Riot was to go, he'd kick my ass trying to make anything I would make. So, in fact, he already has. Chroma is like everything I've ever wanted to make, but like 10 times better. So, whoops. But same deal. I even saw a few comments that were like, sounds like Azora, sounds like, Rushdown or whatever. So it's like,
yeah, bro.
Moral of the story, be yourself.
Be yourself.
With Virtual Riot's a bit different because he's fucking cracked at everything.
Bro, Virtual Riot itself is a god that was among humans. I don't know what else can you explain about that guy. That guy is just like, what can you not do wrong? Because everything you do is like amazing. It's like shit. Like the whole album itself is like the most unique album I've ever heard in a long time.
Yeah, it's super good.
And my favorite song was the one when he did with Mozart. That was like probably my favorite song of the entire album. But everything else about the album, like the collaboration that he did with what's her name, Nadia, is it Nadia Naduka or Naduka?
Oh yeah, thank you, Nadao, I think.
Yeah, something like. And she's done plenty of work with AU5,
Yeah, for sure. They're like a good dynamic duo.
Yeah, so it's like again, like from a lot of people that they always expect Virtual Riot to be doing like, oh, I want rhythm, and he always give them rhythm every EP or every compilation. And this album just made it very unique. It's like, okay, I'll give you some rhythm, but here's some of the stuff that I want to fuck around. Here's some stuff that I want to do. And that's very important as an artist. Like, you always have to evolve yourself. Like, you don't necessarily have to stick with whatever people wants to. Do stuff that whatever makes you happy. If that's what defines you, that's what defines you. And if in one point in your life do you decide, like, you know what, just for the shits and giggles out of it, I'm gonna make another genre song just for the fuck of it.
Why not? I mean, that's how you expand as an artist. You figure out epiphanies in there that you can apply elsewhere. Like, I think it's a good example of where I learned something good. I'm totally blanking with that. Yeah, actually, Clear as Sky. That ending piano was fully sequenced by me, and it sounds like it was played. And so that allowed me to experiment. I made that all the way back in March 2020. Like, Clear Sky has been pretty much done for a really long time. We just wanted to look for the right opportunity to release it, and thankfully, UKF was nice enough to let us put it out with them, and that was really nice. But it was like, yeah, that ending piano bit, it's not dubstep, like whatever, it's fucking piano. But the techniques of like, velocity and slightly nudging a note a little bit to make it feel like it was played realistically, I now do that with leads and pads, and that led to the epiphany of Waterfall. That blah, 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 blah. Most of the drum bus is like shifted ever so slightly to the right, so it gives it that swingy, like that kind of like pocket. So it's like, yeah, if you don't mess around in these other genres, you're just kind of going to be stuck in one direction, I think.
I agree, bro. I agree. And you know what? I'm not mad about if you want to stick with that same genre, that's fine, because a lot of people do stuck in that same genre. But if you ever want to evolve yourself as an artist and just not be labeled as like, oh yeah,
Wolfson is a dubstep head. That's what he is. Like, no, I want to be known as Wolfson as the artist, that he can do whatever he wants to do, and he just does it, you know? So
For sure.
And sometimes it's even harder because it's funny that you say that about the UKF, you know, that they let you release that track, you know? It's funny because sometimes these labels, like, I'm not saying disciple, I'm speaking in general terms, you know, and sometimes these labels, they say like, nah, we kind of want you to do this and do that, you know? And you see that a lot more often. And that's why sometimes you don't have that privilege to release some of those tracks, you know, the way you want it. And you just rather do it independently, you know? Now, have you ever had that experience before in which a label tells us like, you know what, we're not in it for this. We prefer you do this.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot of labels try to take creative control over projects, which Disciple luckily did not for Lumina. They like took it as it was. I was really worried they were going to make me bump off it soon and kill the storytelling, but they didn't. That was really nice. I think honestly, again, going back to what I was saying before about, you know, my goal in life is to get on this one label, you know, same thing. Fuck the labels, dude. Make what you want, you know, like whatever. Make the labels come sucking for you, dude. Like whatever, like whatever, you know. It's like, yeah, sure. Maybe if I really tried my hardest, I could make 5 really boring tropical house bangers with the 4 chords of doom and pay $7,000 for a vocal line, you know, and just make the perfect song and get it on Monster Cat. But will I be emotionally satisfied as an artist? No. I won't, you know. And that's so. Whereas it's like if I make 7 songs I'm really proud of and get declined by Monster Cat, definitely didn't happen. Then whatever. At the end of the day, I have 7 songs I was happy with, and now what do you know? You know, Monster Cat saw they were successful, and hopefully next time we shoot them demos, they'll like it. I don't know. You know, it's like you know, I moved on, they moved on, and it was like that was that. And that's a lot more emotionally satisfying than engineering it to be perfectly compliant to the standards, you know, like fuck that, dude. It's your art, it's your music, unless it's like an objective thing, like, oh, the mix sounds like shit. But it's like, you know, from an artistic perspective, you know, you like it or you don't make me try and change everything.
I like it that you're talking about this type of stuff, Ben, because it needs to be heard, you know, like not many artists do talk about this. The only few people that talk about this sort of stuff was probably you and Nitty Gritty. Everyone else that I interview, they're all up and coming, so they haven't had that full experience. They only had certain experiences and some things that they weren't aware of, and that's where I guide them a little bit. It's like, well, just let you know, this is how they work, you know, this is how they do that, you know. But you and Nitty were spot on that part, you know, and I'm happy to hear that, because at least you have a clear mind of what you want, and you're not gonna let any label to dictate you how your project works and how you're gonna proceed to your project. It's like, no, this is how you're gonna release the song, or else go someone else. Like, no, it's like, all right, fuck you. I'll release it on my own. I'm happy with it, you know? And I like that mindset. Sure. That's how you're supposed to be. But it's very hard for some of these up and comers to see that, you know? They don't see that because they just want to get recognized immediately by the first try, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I think I would always rather just be respected than statty. You know what I mean? Like I just, you know, I don't know. I make music. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, bro. Like, I mean, if it doesn't make you happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I would rather live in total obscurity than make music I don't like. You know what I mean? And I've had a few of those experiences before where I've made that kind of engineered music, maybe even had it do well, you know, but it was like, am I as emotionally satisfied with this one as a tune that has less plays, but is like better? You know, like, I don't know.
I agree with you. And you know what? Let me tell you, this is one of those, you know, few reasons of why at a certain point in my career, I stopped making music altogether. I was on a hiatus. I should have not taken the hiatus when my career was literally about to start. But I did it because for mental health reasons, you know, I was feeling pressure every day. I was making ends meet. I was working on a shitty ass job, you know, working 12-hour shifts on the weekends, you know, and I wasn't happy with my life. You know, I was kind of lonely. I lived by myself, and my head wasn't in the right place, you know, and and then I decided like I'm gonna take a hiatus. Like I don't care if I don't start my career or not, you know, like let me stop, because if not, you know, who knows what may happen, you know. But I decided to stop and let me just refocus my life, refocus on the stuff that I wanted to. And luckily all the good things happened. Got a new job in which I'm very happy and gives me the freedom and the liberty to do all the stuff that I'm doing right now, podcasting, producing, and working with others and whatnot, you know. I'm a good space right now. I'm doing the things that I love to do. Like I'm, you know, like I do lots of hobbies. I do a lot of hobbies. Like my favorite hobby is playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you know. I play that competitively. And you know, and it's all that stuff, all combination of all my happiness that it led me to let's go back again to make some music and start with the podcast game. And before you know it, I was just happy again. And now I'm like, holy shit, I just make one of the most I've never felt so happy and so accomplished in my life than the song that I released last month. And I didn't do that much promotion about it. I just let everybody know, it's like, hey, you know, I'm releasing my first single in about 2 years that I haven't released anything. And you know what?
That's crazy.
I'm happy. I don't care whether the results are, it's all the way in Spotify, it's SoundCloud, like you name it. Like, and I'm super happy about it because it's like, it felt me. That's the important thing. It felt me and no regrets about it. And I can't wait to release the next one if and when I finish it. And the next 2 singles that I already had in my head. I was like, I want this project to look like this, you know? So now I'm in a bad space. And, you know, you have to talk about this sort of stuff, you know, for everybody and let everybody know that, you know, everybody deals with this type of pressure. Like, just do what makes you happy. Don't force yourself of doing stuff just so you're pleasing others. Because that was one of my mistakes. I was pleasing the people and people were loving it. And they were like, oh yeah, I want more. And it just puts a huge burden and pressure on you. That is just like, man, that's where I learned the hard way. It's like, dude, just do stuff that makes you happy. Fuck everyone else, you know? Like, who cares if this label doesn't want to release it? Who cares if this one are not interested? Who really cares? Are you happy with the results? That's it. That's all you gotta need. That's all you need, you know? And I commend you, you know, that you're being an advocate about that stuff. And I love to hear you preach about this stuff more and more to anyone else that's near you or any person that comes up to you, you know, and they ask you, because there's a guarantee fact that when you start your tour, you're going to have fans, and you're going to have fans that are up and comers, and they're going to ask you like the 20 questions. They're going to ask
you. No, I already gotten that at a few shows. It's like, yeah, sometimes it's a bit funny, you know, like I'll come off the stage, you know, I'll be chilling in the crowd and it's like, I've got my chest bumping. You got that like post-show adrenaline or whatever. Yeah. Some guys are like, how'd you make the bass at 2 minutes, 6 seconds in River Spirit? I'm like, oh, do you want me to get out my laptop? Do a little project breakdown? No, it's lovely. I love my fans. It's nice that people like respect the sound design that I've been able to pull off and stuff. Yeah. It is just funny when it's just like the last thing that's on my mind.
Like, hey, I love you, man. Your stuff is amazing. It's like, oh, thank you. So how did you did the sound design of this song? It's like,
no, it was hilarious. Like the guy, if you're listening to this, kid, I love you. You're amazing. But it was like, he just like listed this exact like timestamp. I was like, what the fuck? Now that is dedication.
That's dedication.
You memorized, you went to a show, you drove to the show, went to the show. You know, I played through my whole set, and in your head, it's just like 206. Remember the number.
It's like, remember this question. This question. It has to be this question. Like, repeat it yourself. Yes.
I remember it was I don't know if it was 206, but it was River Spirit. It must not have been 206. Let's skip to 206. What happens at 206 in the song? No, because 206 is the breakdown. So yeah, it was within the drops. So it was like it was like a specific timestamp.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well, I mean, this is some of the stuff that people are gonna come up to you. You know, they're like big or small people they're gonna come up to you. It's like, how do you do this? How you do that? You know, and you know, this is where the small portion of the show where we're gonna wrap this up, man, and we're gonna ask you some of the cool questions in which you're gonna answer some of these that I hope that your fans could actually get to listen to it. Like one of these questions, as an up and coming producer, you know that if you want to make it, you know what it takes. But if somebody invites you to go on a show, should you go ahead and go out and go on a show and party and do other shit, or reject it kindly and say like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm staying home and produce because I need this. What are your thoughts about that? What should you do?
I think it depends. So what is it like? We're talking about just like a show that you're going to for shits,
randomly,
like that you're playing.
It's more randomly. It's not. It's more of a like, hey, your friends are inviting you to go out, and you're like, I kind of want to stay and produce, but sure, I'll go out, or maybe I shouldn't go.
Oh yeah, I do think it requires a bit of discipline. I think set yourself an amount of time that you're going to produce every day, and be like for me, it's 2 hours a day I have to produce. Usually I go way over. Not gonna lie, just because I love it so much, and I'm a loser, so I don't really get invited to these things. So it's easy for me.
But don't say that.
It's true, but it's like, I don't know. I think it's good to have fun, and I live your life. You can't exactly be a disciplined robot. I mean, we're artists. We take raw materials of our lives and we make it into art. So it's like, if you don't have that raw material, then whatever. But I mean, I think it just depends on your current situation. If you've been producing all week and your grind set's been going ham and someone invites you to go, hang out, then yeah, of course, go do it. And I also think it's good to set a maximum you're going to produce a day. Like for me, if I go over 10 hours, I'm like, no, let me hang out. Let me be a human. And I do hit 10 hours quite often. I especially did before I had college. Now it's not as often, but yeah, during the pandemic, I was going like 10, 11, 12, and I was experiencing a lot of burnout. Didn't really have those like life experiences that I could just regularly have. But yeah, I mean, the short answer is depends on the context. Depends how hard you've been working up until that point.
That's actually like the best way I tell people is like, because the way you're saying you do 2 hours every day.
Yeah, just about. I mean, I've kind of mentally set the minimum. Obviously, if I'm playing a show, like that kind of counts, doesn't it? But most days, if it's just an average day, I'm at least in the DAW for about 2 hours fucking around.
It's funny you say that because I actually do that. I actually do spend, I used to spend a lot more. Now it's more, I'm focusing on my podcast and, writing emails like crazy. But when I'm actually in my producer mode, every day I spend 2 hours. This is like, I get out of work at 5. I'm like, all right, from 5 to 7, I'm in the DAW right now. No pun intended, yep. Wyatt. No pun intended.
In the DAW.
In the DAW.
Gotta love Wyatt. Shout out Wyatt.
Shout out Wyatt. I'm trying my best to get him over to the show, but he also wants me on his show. It's like, oh shit, how are we gonna do this? But
collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration. But yeah, like do 2 hours consistently, 2 hours every day, and you'll feel satisfied. You'll feel satisfied because, like, all right, you reached the goal. Now you can go home and just chill or do whatever you need to do, and you don't have to worry about like, oh, I had to do this and that for my dad. It's like, no, you already did your work. Just come back tomorrow and you're gonna do it. And that kind of starts to get motivation out of you, and then just like Jules gets like, what's the word? It makes you go automatically every day. Like, this is what you gotta do every day. You do it automatically every day, and then when you open the door, it's just like you just write and that's it. You don't have.
Yeah, you write from a visceral place where you don't even have to think about it after a while. Yeah, which sounds scary, but honestly, it's really nice. I no longer have to think about how do I do a high pass. At this point, it's just like
just go. That's
hacker mode. And yeah, I've finished like some of my best songs have been finished in like 18 hours. And I mean, I don't like tooting my own horn. very often. I'm very humbled to have the success I do and the respect that I do in the scene, and that means a lot to me. But realistically, you know, songs with thousands and thousands of automation only take me like 18 hours in the DAW now. The hard part for me now is like being able to produce faster than my ideas come, or actually other way around, being able to have ideas to produce that fast.
Oh, shit.
You know, because it's like usually when you're slower, you know, when you're tuning your snare painfully, it's like
right.
while you're doing that, you have another idea. Whereas at this point, it's just like, okay, now what? Okay, now what? And it becomes a bit strange pacing, but that's a place you want to be, because that means when you do have a definitive idea, you can just it out.
Now, is that the same way that you go about when you're working on collabs? Like, you know, like when you say you're gonna work with Shards, let's say like you already got something, or he reached you out. Like, how's that work? You know, how does that creative process works when you're doing collabs?
So yeah, usually one person has an idea, and then it's like, yo, I got this idea. Like, you want stems, and then that's kind of how the Sharks collab happened. And then, you know, we're good friends, so we would just sit and call, and then we'd just, you know, he'd have the project and I'd backseat, or, you know, we'd have long periods of time where he'd just like make the tune, and then I would like give feedback, send over some stems in my product. Usually it ends up one person has like a hub project, and the other person's like bouncing ideas and stuff. I find that's the most effective way to collab, because like you got to export 47 stems back and forth. It's just like, bruh, that's not fun.
Been there, done that. Not fun, bro. That's why it's like I tell everybody, just switch to live, bro. Just switch to everything. It's much easier, dude. It's just, god damn it with the Fruity Loops crap, bro. Seriously.
I mean, I'm in Fruity Loops, so.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, diss on me all you want.
Well, lucky for you, I know how to use Fruity Loops too, okay? So I got Fruity Loops.
Well, I'm learning at Ableton, so suck that.
Oh, damn. Now we're going to DAW Wars, huh?
Yes, so, well, I'm actually no, because we both know each other's DAWs, so anti-DAW Wars.
Damn, so we're good then. We're good then.
I suppose so.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But I'll tell you this, Live 11, dude, it's gonna be the most user-friendly DAW that you've ever touched in your life. Hands
I
down.
messed around with it a bit. It's nice.
And I love it how limitless it is when it comes to resampling. Like the whole warping section of Live is just like, I found that it's like the best way and easier to use than the other DAWs, you know, because I know Fruity Loops has its own method of doing resampling with waves and warping, but it's just that with Ableton is much more smoother and much more easier to understand and doing it. You know, it's like you immediately will get hooked once you start fucking around with Live 11 on the resampling. It's like guaranteed, man.
Oh heck yeah! I'm excited to mess around with it some more. I'm still learning like the basics, but like one of my goals in 2022. Here I am preaching against goal-based work. No, I'm kidding. But it's like one of my goals is to. Well, this is a good, healthy goal to set. Finish a track in Ableton. That's one of my goals. And then I'll be content. No, I'm not going to be preaching. I'm kidding. But it's like sitting. I want to try and finish a tune in Ableton, like a full-blown one. And that's going to be really hard for me because I know none of the shortcuts. I can barely sidechain, but it's going to send me back into that childlike state where it's just like, what the fuck am I doing? And hopefully that'll spark some nice ideas.
Well, if you ever need some Live 11 tutorials, then I'm your man, because you know I'm close to be an instructor for Live 11 whenever they reopen that crap again and go to San Diego to do it. But
crazy, that's sick.
I'm a pro. I'm 11, so. I'm a pro of Live Ableton completely. You know, it's my go-to DAW. Even when I'm editing my podcast, even for my videos, I just slap the videos on Ableton. I just edit it out from there because I just know the shortcuts very fast and it's just much more effective like that. And then once I bounce it, it's just like, dude, that's it. I did it. I already mixed and mastered. I cut all the video parts. Now I just had to put the stuff in Premiere, slap the intro and outro, and then boom. Up to YouTube and let's go.
Yeah, and then you win.
Bro, Ableton is the shit, I'm telling you. So
yeah, I'll have to mess with it some more. That'd be nice.
Absolutely,
cool
man.
Figure that out. So do you want to start kind of wrapping up shop a bit?
Yeah, we're gonna go to wrap this things out, man. I got you like 3 more questions, and we can end it with that. Okay, man.
Sounds good.
So I think you answered this like in the first part of the interview, like the reason why SkyBreak, why the name SkyBreak.
So the name kind of cringy. So the deer thing, obviously, I told you that meaning, Lord of the Mountain, and it's like Spirit of the Wild. The name SkyBreak itself, I'll tell you the meaning that I call it now.
Okay. Go for it.
So the SkyBreak, it's the divide between nature and technology. The ever decreasing, and it can also mean like the sky is the limit. So we'd be breaking through that. Like, cool. But if you want the real reason, it's called that.
Why?
One of my favorite Minecraft YouTubers from the 2013ish era was Sky Does Minecraft. And so I'd been getting into the Monster Cat stuff, and Drop Tech is a really good drum and bass producer from Monster Cat.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to be Sky Tech, combining their 2 names. My friend was like, that's really cringeworthy. Why don't you just be SkyBreak? And I'm like, way better. So here we are, however many years later.
Boom. There you go. So what has been your greatest accomplishment up to now?
Greatest accomplishment?
Overall, yeah.
It's hard to compare, really. Again, kind of that thing about contentment and whatever. I think the biggest accomplishment is kind of whatever the accumulation is. I think SkyBreak as a whole has been my biggest accomplishment. All the DMs of people telling me, "Oh, Clear Sky like made my day," or like made me feel better when I was down. Or like, my DJ's playing my music out, or, all that stuff, especially the people reaching out to me individually and saying my shit meant something to them. I think that's my biggest accomplishment. It's easy to get, blown away by the whole flashing lights and I played this show and the dick measuring contest or whatever. But I mean, I think the reality of the matter is like, if you've made one person's day ever so slightly better, that's a good accomplishment. So
that's great.
That's kind of where I'm at.
That's good. So what are you currently doing right now, and what do you hope to accomplish by it?
So I'm currently on a Zoom call with a guy. We're doing a podcast right now.
Boom, boom, boom. Let the record be horns. Let's go. Boop, 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 boop.
But what am I doing right now? So a lot of stuff for the tour. I'm redesigning. I'm remaking a lot of my older songs, like stuff from like 2019 and 2020, with newer production value. And I'm making like remixes and stuff, and live edits. So I'm going to try to make it an all original set for the tour. And I'm also working on another EP. I think I was going into the before. It's like with the themes I was going over. And that's nearly done. I'm going to be previewing a lot of that on the tour. So come to my shows, please.
Yes.
Please come to my shows.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be previewed for a bit. And yes, pretty much the EP and the live edits and stuff are the 2 main focuses. And then just trying to finish out the semester with that's about it.
That's pretty though, man. It's very cool because like that's how I'm doing some of these projects that I'm doing now. I'm just like rehashing some of my old projects that I like and never released or revisit them. And I was like, holy shit, let me just work on this and revamp it. And then when I revamp it, it's like, wow, okay, now we got something. So that's pretty cool.
Now we got something good.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this up with this one final question. It is like the most important one for the show. So are you ready for this, man?
Ready.
All right, let's just say, let me take you to a story, man. Let's just say that you're right now walking towards the forest, man. And all of a sudden, Mother Nature at its best comes out in a deer form and comes to you and tells you, hey, SkyBreak, we need your help. You're the only one who can help us. The fate of the world rests in your hands. So please help us. But before you go, we don't know how long you're going to be helping us. Before you go, write down a piece of paper and write down 3 pieces of advice that you'll give to someone. What are those 3 pieces of advice?
Pieces of advice. Find internal motivation to do stuff, because that's going to make you more satisfied. Don't be a dickhead to anyone at all, ever throughout your career, throughout your life or whatever. I mean, like, you never know when you're going to see them again. So just be nice. And I guess the third one would be 3 pieces of advice. This is hard. Crap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't compare yourself too much because everyone is on their own goal. Everyone's got their own aspirations. Nobody has the same past. No one has the same genetic makeup. So you know what? Just work towards whatever you like. And anyone who has to tell you otherwise,
fuck off.
Those would be my 3 pieces of
Very
advice.
good. And they're very, very hit home, because this is something that needs to be said because I feel like not many people are doing it, bro. And this is exactly how you make and break careers,
Yeah, for sure.
It could be like the most simplest advice, but tell you what, that simple advice can literally make or break your career. Because if you're a dick to anybody, nobody wants to work with you.
Yeah, I mean, legit. Like, even if some kid hits you up and spams you, you just ignore and block. I mean, like, because that is different than saying to this kid, or even if they're coming from like a place of like good or bad intention, whatever it is. If you say anything to them like fuck off or whatever, even more, especially when they're young, in 7 years, if they grow up and they're an up and comer, I've even had this experience as on the receiving end of this, they're not going to see you the same way.
Oh,
like in the Skype era, I had I would see my inspiration. So I would be like, yo, oh my God, like I love your shit or whatever. And they'd be like, haha, like fuck off or whatever. And it's like, so now then I couldn't hear the music the same way. So now that I'm like at the same level as them, and I'm not going to name any names here, obviously, but it's like now that I'm at the same level as them, it's like, oh, there's the person who did that like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Very nice. So don't be that guy. Be kind. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Give people compassion.
Yeah.
I think everyone could use more than that. And if the kid's really coming from a place of bad intent or spamming or annoying you, ignoring and blocking is better than giving them a piece of your mind all the time. All the time. Unless they're like stealing your music, then
that's
have at them.
Yeah, that's a different story. But
that's a different story.
Just humble yourself and just ignore it. Go on with your lives, man. You don't need this negative attention from you, man. Just like ignore it. And bro, like whatever it says in the comments, like okay, whatever. Don't even read it. Just brush it off. It's just like block or delete it. Like it ain't worth your time or energy to go back and forth with someone. It's like it's not worth it, bro. It really is.
Especially on the modern internet when all it takes is downloading Lightshot and hitting print screen, and wham, that is suddenly on someone's computer all the time, which is scary, but also it's like a bit of. Actually, I'll conclude on this thought. One of my favorite animes is called Kino's Journey. I just started it recently. I got recommended it by one of my friends, and in episode 1, they go to a country where murder is fully legal. You can kill anyone at any time.
Holy shit!
And because of that, there is no crime at all. So since anyone can murder someone and that is okay and perfectly legal, nobody does everything. Everyone is overly kind. Everyone is overly cautious all the time.
Holy
and that's what the internet is like now because of print screen and stuff. Which is a benefit, which is a blessing and a curse because it means you're not going to get any sus DMs because all it takes is like a screenshot, but also you got to watch your mouth. So it's like a difficult battle to fight. But remember, it's always going on. So just be kind. Don't be an asshole. Or find a group of people you trust where you can let off steam.
Yeah.
But like, make sure that they're trustworthy.
Yes, say that because a lot of times people just talk out of turn at the wrong place at the wrong time. And let me tell you, I was the receiving end of that people were talking shit about me to people that I trust. And when the people that I trust come to me, it's like, yo, are you in beef with this certain person? I'm like, no, I barely talked to him. It was like, well, this guy told you, it's like, fuck Wolfson, fuck that end guy. Like, I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, wow, okay. Well, I'm going to relate this message to all my producer homies to let everybody know. It's like, hey, just so you know, this guy just told me to fuck off and I don't know what I did. So be careful when you're dealing with him.
Exactly.
Because there's just this, I hate, this is another thing about the industry that I hate is like, there's so many snakes in it, man. There's so many sharks that are, no pun intended, bro, that they're in it for each other. It's a feeding frenzy. Like they, instead of like helping each other out to be better and get there at the same time, like, no, they'd rather like eat each other out until one of them is like the superior apex predator. And I'm like, dude, there's literally enough food for everybody. Caring is sharing. Let's go. Like, nobody's stealing the spot, man. It's just...
Yeah. I'm going to conclude with this. I had a conversation with one of my friends who's got this really toxic mindset. He was like, who's your favorite artist? Like, who's a big artist in EDM? And I said, like, I don't know, Porter Robinson,
right.
One of my favorites, like whatever. He goes, well, every second someone is listening to Porter Robinson, they could be listening to you. And I'm like, bro, who cares?
Yeah.
Porter Robinson makes good music.
Yeah.
I make what I believe is decent music. It's like, like whatever. Believe it or not, you can search for both. And if you start viewing shit as a competition, then it's like, come on.
Yeah, bro. Like, it's not worth it. Come on, bro. Like, everybody can eat, But yeah, man, I appreciate very much for having this conversation with you, SkyBreak, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming in, man. It's really an honor and privilege for you to come over, man. Hopefully, sometime in the future, you can come over again and we can talk about how your tour went now and talk about some other stuff as well, man. I got more topics to talk about, but we're gonna wrap it up right here, man. So
perfect. Sounds good.
Thank you very much. Before we leave, plug yourself out. Let the people know where they can find you and what they can expect for you in the future. Go.
Yeah, perfect. So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram under the handle SkyBreak EDM. Facebook, if people still use that, I'm also active on there. Be sure to join my Discord server. We do community events often. We'll probably do another one that when's this coming out?
Probably Christmas.
Got you. Perfect. So we'll be having some community events there soon. SoundCloud and Spotify are where you can hear my music, as well as basically anywhere. Just type in SkyBreak.
Yeah.
I'll be the kid in the flannel.
Yeah.
The one I'm wearing right now, actually. Just anywhere there. Be sure to catch me on tour with Dabin. I'm doing a 3-month bus tour with him and Roman Silver, and that's going to be very, very exciting.
Woo.
Going to a lot of places. And keep on the lookout for some new music. It's coming soon.
That's what's up, man. Thank you very much, SkyBreak, for coming to the show. You're a friend to the show, so whenever you come over, let's talk about the tour and other stuff, man. Thank you so much for coming in, man.
Perfect.
And
thank you so much.
And thank you guys for listening. And remember, every week is a brand new episode with a brand new topic. So be sure to always like and subscribe for your weekly episodes at the Lone Wolv Podcast at YouTube, guys. That's right. You can follow me at youtube.com/the Lone Wolv Podcast. But you can also follow me the audio versions at SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts. Share your experiences, guys. And if you guys got a specific topic that you want me or you want SkyBreak to talk about, please let us know in the comments down below, and we'll try our best to cover it on the next episode. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys at the next one. Deuces.
Take care. Goodbye.